Yo, what up, YouTube? It is your boy, Pretty Boy Ray, aka HB Clips, aka Mr. Disappeared for a long time. You feel me? I'm sorry, y'all. I had a family emergency. I had to do what I had to do. It's just been a lot of stuff going on back to back to back to back with family. I haven't really had space to myself, and I've always, as you guys know, I'm hitting the gym. I'm going to work. I'm doing this, doing that. But I told myself today, enough. It is over. Y'all see I cut my hair baldy. Holding the shirt right here, you feel me? This is a new shirt too, and it's crazy. I don't know how that happened, but must be all these muscles I'm getting, you feel me? Let me flex on y'all boys real quick. I've been in the live, you feel me though? You know what I'm saying? But here we got a very special video. I'm gonna try to get some album reactions out on the weekend, but I'm not even gonna say but, I'm gonna do it. But I have so many albums to react to. I'm gonna see if I could do all of them this weekend and just space them out. We got Gunna's album, the last one. We got JID's album that we left off at. God Does Like Ugly. We also got Joey Badass, he dropped. Any other albums y'all want me to react to, just let me know down in the comment section. Any songs, even just anything in general. But let's get right into this video. This video is called Gen Z Isn't Socially Awkward, You're Just Annoying. Parentheses, the Gen Z Stare by Emu Urgency. Emu Urgency? I guess that's how you say his name. I don't know. If I said your name incorrectly, I'm sorry, my brother.
Hilarious watching all of the older generations,
right,
or even
into
anyone in
this.
general, talking about the Gen Z stare, specifically in customer service environments, saying that we don't really know how to talk to people, we can't communicate.
Alright, I don't really know what the Gen Z
No,
stares. This video
we
just looked
communicate quite
interesting to me.
actually. You're just stupid.
Wait, hold up. Before we even watch this video, what is Gen Z? I need to know the. Damn, my count is Gen Z? Man, I only hear bad things about Gen Z. Why they looping me in with these people? You see?
Yeah, you can take whichever.
Nah, I'm not gonna lie. Alright, they got me. I have looked at people like that, especially when I used to work at Chipotle. Or I don't know, sometimes you just see people do stuff, or people ask you some stuff, that just be mind boggling.
Oh, Gen Z just does the Gen Z stare. They don't know how to talk to people. Fair. A lot of Gen Z don't know how to talk to people, but a lot of older generations talk too much.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie, when I used to work at Chipotle, the most annoying thing was when somebody would ask you, can you put cheese in my quesadilla? Yo, bro, a quesadilla brings cheese. Why are you telling me to put cheese on your quesadilla?
Too rudely and
Yo.
too proudly while being too stupid.
Nah, that's facts. I'm not even gonna lie.
It's time! Gen Z finally has their thing! Well, I mean, allegedly. And it's been a long time coming. We've been waiting
Bro
for this
is
for a minute.
energetic,
We've had the boomer
to say the
confusion,
least.
boomer anger, the Gen X rise, and Gen X Greece. The millennial
What
cringe,
the-
the millennial anger, the Gen X rise, and Gen X Greece. The millennial cringe, the millennial
I was about to say, what's bro
pause.
doing?
And now, my friends, it is Gen Z's turn. And today, we're talking about the, drumroll please, the Gen Z stare. Hey guys, what's up, Submergency, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are
Submergency?
talking about the Gen Z stare.
Bruh, I just seen somebody coin the term Gen Z stare, and I'm so glad somebody gave it a term, because the way some people in our generation act, it's like we cracked the old generation talking about the lead paint stare, but a lot of y'all have that same exact vibe.
And if this is your first
No
time hearing
cap.
about the Gen Z stare, then I truly applaud you for staying off of TikTok, because it has been the
Thank you,
source
good
of
sir.
discourse for the past 2 weeks.
I'll try my best to
People
stay off of
across social
TikTok.
media have been talking about this Gen Z phenomenon, specifically dissecting the way that Gen Z, or young people, socially interact in public and especially in service interactions. And the gag of this whole discourse is that a lot of people in Gen Z weren't even aware that this was necessarily even a thing. I mean, you can even see the results here in this this poll that I had on my channel, and you know we got a good Gen Z audience here, okay? And here's the thing. I feel like there are a couple of things going on in this discourse right now that are making it a little bit more complicated than it needs to be, because there's been a lot of back and forth online as to what exactly the Gen Z stare means. What are people talking about when they say that Gen Z has a problem with staring or just like not really keeping up socially? And where specifically is this happening?
No, I'm not gonna lie, bro. I feel like any generation probably says it, but I feel like our generation is not that. Like, I feel like our generation is very social. Like, people love going outside. Every time you see young people are always outside. I don't see no old people outside. Well, I'm lying. I do see, like, damn, I don't want to call them old, though. They like 30s. I know it's the jokes to call them monks and stuff, but I mostly see young people, well, or young-looking people outside, because, you know me, I'm a young-looking man, and I am young. I'm not unk. I'm not none of that. So
conversation evolved over the past.
Even though right now I fake look old.
Like what we as
I got the Walter White. I got the cartel look going on right now.
Conversation to mean is different from what older generations are claiming the Gen Z stare is, when in reality I feel like both are kind of getting at the same underlying issue. So in this video we're going to be talking about the Gen Z stare, whether it has any validity, whether or not it's an actual thing, and getting to the bottom of whether Gen Z is actually socially awkward or if the rest of the world is just that annoying. So I guess to start,
they could be a little bit of both.
Start by
both two things could be true at the same time. I feel like this, even though I did just say, like, I feel like I always see young people outside, I will say, like, we also are the most kind of antisocial, I guess, or scared to talk to people, like anxiety and all that, but we do it, like, and once we do get that out the way, that initial, like, door opening, is like we're comfortable, and then once we're comfortable, we are very social.
Gen Z stare, or the Gen Z gaze, actually is. Wait, hold on, not Gen Z gaze. Okay, mandatory cutscene aside, finding exactly what the Gen Z stare is has been pretty much the biggest topic of debate here, with older generations claiming it as being the blank middle distance stare into the void often employed by Gen Z folk, with it often being used in settings where you're being asked a question, or just when you're expected to exchange pleasantries. So like, think you're sitting on a bus or like a train station and someone comes up, and someone sitting next to you is like, oh hey, how are you doing? And the reply is... Or older gens have been defining it as,
I feel like that's more with girls though. Like, girls is more likely to just not interact with you, especially if you're an older man or if you're a man in general for some reason. I feel like if you ask a girl, hey, how you doing, and she feels like I don't know how to describe it, because I don't want to say defensive, I don't want to say disgusted, I don't want to say use those terms, but like, females are less likely to converse with men for some reason, because they just don't, like, I don't know. I'm not saying I experienced this, but I have seen one of those videos where it was like an old man, like, he walked up to a girl in a grocery store or something, and like he was like, oh, like, I walk up to this girl and I said, like, hey, how's your day going, or something, and like she was like mad that he got ignored.
Gen Z is kind of,
but he's some old guy, like white hair,
skills to
bald,
hold
and
conversation, to have small talk, or really operate in society socially.
Everyone's been explaining the Gen Z stare wrong, and I wanted to do it because my coworker did it to me literally an hour ago, and this is actually what it is. Hey, this is so-and-so. I wanted you guys to exchange numbers because we just need to be in contact about certain things. Can you exchange numbers? Is that...
See, I never used it in that
Can
term.
you do that?
Like, it's like if somebody, like, I'll even reply, but like for example, let's say I'm restocking the napkins at Chipotle, and a customer were to walk up to me like, oh, I don't work at Chipotle no more, guys, by the way, but like, oh, do you guys have any napkins? And I'm like literally in front of her, like, restocking. I would just look at her like, are you seriously asking me?
Give her my number. Right, yes, actually, yeah, I could do that. I just want to make sure it was okay, like I have your permission. Yeah, that's fine, you can just give her my number, because you have it already.
And the issue here is really twofold because this conversation just started off as being really disjointed. Like, we're all arguing about different things here. Like, on one hand, you have a group of people, that group of people being like millennials and older, talking about how Gen Z is incredibly socially awkward, stunted, and doesn't know how to participate or engage in regular conversations, as well as small talk, and usually extends or cites this as being commonplace either at work or out in public. Then you have many of us in Gen Z that have heard this conversation and taken it as those instances in customer service where you have these people, usually older people like the millennials plus, either asking self-explanatory questions, making ridiculous
See, this is where I have used
like
this.
it's a 40 color Rubik's Cube. And that's also very valid, and we're going to talk about both of these things. But the thing is, and mind you, I'm always going to ride for us as Gen Z, but I feel like in terms of this conversation, we're starting to miss the point just a little bit, because unfortunately, I do think that there are points to be made here. And we need to dive into each of these arguments to understand, for one, where they're coming from, and two, whether or not these are valid at all. Okay, let's start this off by talking about what the older generations are talking about when it comes to things like social anxiety and social skills in Gen Z. And one thing that they're citing is the phenomenon of young people not knowing how to start or initiate conversations, i.e. staring at servers when they ask you how your day's going, or if they can get anything started for you. When you get a phone
Nah,
call,
see,
wait
I
for
don't
the
really have
person
that
who
problem.
calls you, says something
Like,
first, and other just small talk
For me, my problem is initiation. But like once somebody like talks to me, or like once I do talk to somebody, I'm good. But my general anxiety or uncomfort with being social comes from just initiating. Cause like you gotta be careful these days.
Hi.
Like who you give your energy. You feel me?
Can I get you started with something to drink? Do you need a minute? I can give you a minute. Take your time.
And I think this is coming down to
Nah,
one of
that's
the
dumb
issues
funny,
in our
I'm not gonna
generation
lie.
we've spoken about quite a few times on this channel before.
But they
Where I
exaggerating
think that
crazy.
purely social aspect of just like giving pleasantries to people, or just like responding to a hello, should be something that we're more comfortable with doing. Like, I feel like that should be a good baseline. But we should take a little bit of accountability in the fact that, like, yeah, social skills, or at least socializing holistically in our generation looks a little bit different from other generations. And a lot of you might not like to hear this, but like a good portion of that can be attributed to the way in which the majority of us were socialized or not socialized growing up. And we're going to get into a little bit more of that later. And this isn't necessarily a slight to us saying that we're like some kind of social pariah, but I do think inherently there is a certain level of avoidance in these sets of specific social interactions. And I'm not saying generally, because we're going to get into the Gen Z side of the argument. And I think a lot of the criticism, and I think a lot of the things that we've been saying are like problems are for sure.
I feel like part of this is kind of true, because like I guess even in me being from like the Bronx, I feel like my mom tried to shelter me a lot, kind of. Not like in the sense of like, you know what I'm saying, super duper. Well, I mean, I would say it is kind of super duper crazy. Like, I wouldn't be able to go out to hang with friends. Like, I would either go out with just family or stay home, or like if I had to interact with friends, it would be in school. I was in like extreme cases like where people are homeschooled and all that. But like being in the Bronx, like my mom just didn't want me in the street, like because of danger or whatever. But yeah, that kind of, I guess, affected my initiation, like on why I don't really like to initiate with people, I guess.
Problems, but I think just for saying hello, or like things that kind of require you to respond socially, does raise some eyebrows. And this is coming from someone that gets social anxiety bad, okay? And this sort of social behavior is something that we've seen a couple of times in like major online conversations, because we do tend to navigate spaces, at least online, from a place of distance and almost detachment. Like, it goes back to that whole conversation that was on social media a couple months back, where people were talking about whether or not you were owed a hello from a cashier. You remember that conversation? There was this large sentiment of like not being entitled to someone's time or conversation, which in some cases is very true, but also in that same breath, we do have to acknowledge that that is in contrast and in conflict with a lot of our pleas for connection and community in our day-to-day lives. And I think that piece is what's contributing
that's
to this
facts.
disconnect in this conversation, because I do think that it's okay to be socially anxious.
Like people want to be social, but they don't want to be social as well.
I kind of feel bad for y'all. Like,
Shout out to everybody with social anxiety.
Is that Summer
I
Walker?
feel sorry for you.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's
I'm pretty sure that's
completely fine to
Summer
be
Walker,
socially
no?
anxious, and it's understandable to be socially avoidant. But you can't be both of those things and not working on either, and also expect connection and community from others. Because again, that kind of goes against that whole principle of like not owing anyone anything. And unfortunately, there are actually numbers to support the fact that like our lack of socialization is kind of having an impact on the world around us. In an article from the New York Post talking about the Gen Z gaze or the Gen Z stare, they say that many rejected the notion that just because a job isn't great doesn't mean you shouldn't be greeting customers. With someone from one of the older generations saying, I remember the first time a friend told me she didn't think customers were owed friendliness. Just a mind-boggling mindset, one person shared. It's just so insidious, and I really don't think people realize they're infected with it. Work is so much better for everyone when you're making an effort, so we aren't just seeing this on the customer service.
I'm not gonna lie, so this is where I'm at with that stance. For example, like if people are scared of AI taking people's jobs, if you're not willing to give hospitality, it's like a robot could do your job. If you're not willing to be kind to the customers, a robot could do your job. Now I understand. I used to work with customers all the time. There was customers I hated. I would be annoyed sometimes, but not everybody deserves that. You feel me? Like I would try my best to like, oh, tell them enjoy your meal, like have a nice day, or like hello, like how's your day been? But you don't have to do all of that. Like you could just be like hey, and just like be reply, I guess. But I that's where I'm at with that, cause like if you're gonna act like a robot and just be there to do the job, a robot can do your job.
Have some thoughts
If
on
we're
the
being
customer service
honest.
aspect of this conversation, which we're going to get into when we talk about Gen Z's approach to the Gen Z stare debate or whatever. But this isn't just a thing exclusive to customer service, because there's also a study about Gen Z in the office talking about things like small talk and how we've kind of killed small talk in the office. According to the study, the art of small talk is dying out because younger workers feel more comfortable communicating online, according to research. A whole of 2,000 employees found that 74% struggle to make light conversations with coworkers in the kitchen and elevator. With Gen Z,
Man, watch out.
30%
If y'all know where that's
this
from,
way.
leave it down below. Man, watch out.
33%, and 24% of Gen X. So while if you've seen any of my Gen Z videos before, you know that I'm not a fan of the whole like Gen Z is ruining everything discourse, especially when it comes to the workplace, because I think a lot of it is kind of dramatized and sensationalized, and ultimately does end up harming Gen Z more than it does like educating the populace. But I think an explanation
Yeah.
for this that a lot of people for some reason just like don't really acknowledge as being valid is that for at least the workplace, when it comes to things like being socially awkward or like lacking these social skills, is the whole concept of remote and hybrid work kind of being the norm for a lot of Gen Z when they enter the workplace. A lot of people underplay a lot of things about the pandemic, but one thing especially that they underplay is the impact that has.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm so mad they took away a lot of remote jobs, bro. I need a remote job, man.
In the workforce,
Man, watch out.
as new adults, high schoolers, and for some of us even middle schoolers. Like we really spent our formative years in Zoom calls, where oftentimes participation and responses were optional. So when you go through that during your developmental stages and that becomes more normal, of course, like when you grow up or go into different settings, that's going to impact how you show up in the world. So you can't necessarily put all the blame for people, at least on the workspace, for a work culture that they did not grow up in or have experience with. Now, what I will say, because I see a lot of my older generation viewers getting a little frustrated with me being like, oh, this isn't unique to y'all, everyone's had to go through their own thing. I will say, I do think that we as Gen Z need to put a little bit more effort in to correct that behavior, because I think a lot of times in these conversations, we address and we understand where it's coming from. You know, like most things, an explanation is not an excuse, and there isn't as much conversation around changing the narrative or changing the actual behaviors to cause people to paint these narratives. So I think what the challenge is for us, which I will say is not fair and sucks. It sucks. It's not optimal at all, which is really unfortunate. But the challenge for us is going to have to be becoming more comfortable with being uncomfortable, especially in these social interactions.
That's facts.
Before I get jumped,
That's a good skill to
people
have, a
extreme
very
or
good skill to have.
extenuating cases.
Knowing how to stay composed and stay firm in yourself, even when you are uncomfortable, is a huge skill to have. That's something that anybody should develop. Like, put yourself in uncomfortable situations and like stay firm to who you are. Like, be
Where they're
you.
either at their wits' end or have other contributing
You don't want to be that
factors
person
to
that's
why
put under
social interactions
pressure and
are
then
a little
folds all the
awkward
time. You
or
feel
a
me?
little more difficult for them. I don't mean this to be widely applicable to every single case, but for your average person, it would not be death-inducing to venture outside of what is considered to be comfortable socially and trench through small talk. Now, with that said, older gens, we do have to have a talk. We do have to have a talk. We do have to have a conversation because this conversation, like I said, is twofold. Y'all had us in the first half. The second half, we do have some things we need to talk about and address. Well, yes, Gen Z does have a problem with staring and not responding to things when it comes to small talk and stuff like that. There are also a sect of people calling Gen Z stare just a lack of general customer service and not responding to your every question and not making you feel like the customer is always right. And this doesn't even have to be in a customer setting. This can be in just like an interpersonal conversation. And this is, for one, not something that is unique to Gen Z. I just think for some reason when young people do it, it is taken as like the sensational thing, because sometimes the things that y'all say and questions y'all ask simply deserve nothing more than a stare, because what do you mean? Do you have no shame?
Clock it, sis.
Naturally, many service workers who are guilty of the Gen Z gaze defended themselves and reminded the internet that their jobs suck. No disrespect, but if you have to deal with the insane amount of absolutely effing brain dead people you met in your life for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, you would do this, and people have been doing this since jobs as a concept were invented. We're one person on X. But people really underestimate the types of questions or just comments that people make on a day-to-day basis that do not warrant anything but a stare. Because if you respond the way you want to respond to that question, you are then in the wrong.
There is that times where I'll do that stare just off of the simple fact of like, I know if I respond, I'm gonna be an asshole. Like, I'm gonna look like an asshole. I'm gonna be an asshole. I'm gonna make you feel bad. So I just look like.
You can do is.
Yeah, context clues.
There's so many story times online about some excruciatingly stupid interactions.
Man, watch out.
Coming from customers just because they believe that the customer is always right. Like, we see this all the time. And like, the fact of the matter is, for like that aspect of the conversation, like, most people aren't being paid enough to deal with all of that on a day-to-day basis. Like, I know that's their job and I know that's what they're hired to do, but like, it's not enough. They're not getting paid enough to deal with all of that, okay?
Man, watch out.
He walks in on the phone. He's like, yeah, I'll send it over to you. Yeah, no, I'll just send it over to you. Yeah. No, I'll send it over to you. I'm like, okay, whatever. It's pointless to even try to greet this person because they're not even gonna notice that I'm there, right? He comes right up to the counter and he goes, any gum? You got any gum here? And I go, gum? No, I don't think so. He goes, no gum at a store? I go, no, we don't have gum. And he goes, Tic Tac? I go, no, sorry, no gum, no Tic Tacs. He goes, well, I have a meeting. Do you have gum? What? And then he goes over to the candy section, right? The infamous Haichu section, and he goes, Haichu? As if that's something? I go, yeah, Haichu. He goes, as if to be like, I caught you. You're a dummy at your job. I found gum.
And let me tell you something. People are always quick to call Gen Z.
Man, watch out.
They're so quick to be like, oh, Gen Z is so entitled to this and that. But we need to also have the conversation about how there's also a rising entitlement in older generations as well. Like, everyone.
I need to stop doing that. My fault. That man watch out stuff is stuck in my head for some reason.
Don't get it twisted. I know you've been mentioned a couple times, but Gen Z and millennials, we go together real bad. I think. Yeah, a lot of people in the older generations have a life where at some point they're able to afford a house, kids, and an education all with one job, and it didn't even have to be super high paying. Now for most of us, and this isn't just a Gen Z thing, I think that Gen Z just feels it more because this is all we got and we're newer entering all this. We don't and can't aspire to those same things anymore. So yeah, people aren't going to be as invested in their job because they know the job is going to help them get by, but it's not going to help them get the life that they want. Because most people's single jobs don't pay for a living wage or for the lifestyle that they need anymore.
Oh, that's facts.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
I just wanted to get a decaf Vietnamese iced coffee with oat milk, if that's alright.
So we actually don't have any decaf coffee, and I can also only do the Vietnamese with sweetened condensed milk.
Okay, I mean, like, I always, like, come in and order, like, the same thing. So, like, and they've done decaf for me before, so I just, like, would really like a decaf Vietnamese iced coffee with oat milk. I just don't understand, like, I have ordered that before here.
Right, so we've never had decaf coffee.
But I have gotten it before, multiple times, so...
My researcher wanted to add a little note in the video where she points out that she personally has worked in service and retail jobs throughout her life, and she feels like she always turns into a customer service robot whenever she's on the clock to lock in. Like, this meme is really her. I actually don't remember working once. I clocked in. I will black out as the spirit of customer service possess my mortal body once again.
I'm done.
Now that we've heard both sides, let's kind of talk about the nuances within them and kind of where they intersect. And the first way we're going to do this is talking about the compulsory social interactions that are required of a society. Like, I think in life and in an optimal society, there are a lot of mandatory cutscenes that you got to get through. A lot of small talk, a lot of seemingly meaningless conversations you have to have. And those are important. They don't always feel like they are, and they don't always feel great to have, but they are important to maintaining a society. And I think that the more we stray from that and the more we kind of demonize small talk, that's sort of been like a topic of conversation for like the past however many years. People making it the personality to hate small talk. Like, oh my God, I hate small talk. I hate talking about nothing and not having substantive conversations, as if those two are like mutually exclusive things. Like, I think the whole thing of small talk is to...
Alright, so we got the gist of this video out the way. So the Gen Z stare, what's y'all thoughts about it? Leave it down in the description below. The last point I do have to make is about what he was just talking about small talk. I agree with him in the sense of people try to say I hate small talk to sound or look cool or whatever, but it's kind of like, yo, like, if you really think about it, small talk is necessary. Now, if you could say when you're looking at a relationship, you don't want to just do small talk, you want to get into deep conversations with people, or like when you look for friends, yes, you want to get into deep conversations, but not everybody's gonna think that way or be open to that form of getting to know each other. Sometimes you got to do the small talk and lead it into the deep, important conversations, you feel me? But that's all I have to say about this video, man. I hope y'all have a blessed night, man. I love all of y'all. I hope y'all still here, and I hope we could keep making videos together, you feel me? But that's on me. I know y'all gonna show up. I just gotta be here too. But I hope y'all have a blessed day, man. Thank you.